There are moments in life, fleeting, seemingly insignificant decisions that can shatter the illusion of safety. A single ring, a curious click, a casual glance. We go about our days oblivious to the thin veil separating the mundane from the monstrous. But sometimes, just sometimes, the ordinary opens a door to something truly terrifying. And once that door is open, it can never be closed. Some things are better left unanswered. I learned that the hard way, and so did others. Tonight, I bring you 3 stories. 3 warnings from those who wish they had simply never engaged. Our first story comes from Sarah, a college student, living alone in a quiet suburban apartment. It started innocently enough, a blocked number calling late at night. She ignored it, as most of us would. But the calls didn't stop. Every night, precisely at 3:17 a.m., her phone would light up, a silent, insistent demand in the darkness. It was never a voicemail, just a hang-up, leaving behind only a lingering sense of unease. After a week, the calls began to vary. Sometimes it was 2 a.m., sometimes 4 a.m. But always, it was a blocked number. Then came the voicemails, not words, not threats, but sounds. A low, guttural breathing, a faint, almost imperceptible scratching, and once, a child's lullaby, sung off-key, distorted, as if through a broken speaker. Sarah's anxiety escalated. She changed her number, but within 3 days the calls started again. The same blocked number, the same chilling sounds. One particularly stormy night, the calls came relentlessly. Every few minutes, the lullaby voicemail played on a loop in her mind. Fear, mixed with a desperate need for answers, began to gnaw at her. She knew she shouldn't. Every fiber of her being screamed no. But at 3:17 a.m., as the phone vibrated with another incoming call from the blocked number, Sarah's hand trembled, and she pressed answer. There was no voice, only a deep, resonant thump-thump, like a heartbeat. But it wasn't her own. It was too slow, too heavy, too close. And then, a whisper. Not through the phone, but from behind her. You shouldn't have answered, Sarah. The phone slipped from her grasp. She spun around, but the room was empty. The window was closed. The door was locked. Yet the whisper had been undeniable. From that night on, the calls stopped. But Sarah never felt alone again. Every shadow held a presence. Every creak of the floorboards was a step closer. She had answered the call, and something had answered back from inside her home. A phone call is a direct line, a voice, a sound, a connection. But what about the less direct pathways, the digital whispers that slip into our inboxes, promising something or demanding everything? Sometimes the most dangerous invitations arrive not with a ring, but with a subject line. Mark was a freelance graphic designer, always on the lookout for new clients. His inbox was a constant stream of inquiries, legitimate and otherwise. One Tuesday morning, an email landed in his spam folder. The subject line was simply, "Your work." No sender name, just a string of random characters for the address. His initial instinct was to delete it. But the subject line, "Your work." It was vague, yet personal. It piqued his professional curiosity. Against his better judgment, Mark moved it to his inbox and opened it. The body of the email was blank, save for a single attachment, a JPEG file. No text, no explanation, just an image. His mind raced. Was it a potential client testing his discretion, a competitor, or something else entirely? The rational part of him screamed virus. The curious part, the part that wanted to know what his work referred to, clicked the attachment. The image loaded slowly, pixel by agonizing pixel. It wasn't a design or a logo or anything related to his portfolio. It was a photograph. A grainy, black and white photograph of his apartment from across the street, taken just last night. And in the window of his living room, a faint, blurred figure could be seen. A figure that looked eerily like him. But it wasn't him. He had been asleep. As the last pixels rendered, a small, almost imperceptible detail emerged in the bottom corner of the photo. A date and timestamp. Yesterday, 3:17 a.m. Mark slammed his laptop shut, his heart hammering against his ribs. He deleted the email, emptied his trash, ran every antivirus scan imaginable. But the image was burned into his mind. The figure in his window. The timestamp. He never received another email from that address. But every night as darkness fell, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every flicker of the streetlights, every rustle of leaves outside his window became a confirmation. He had opened the email, and in doing so, he had opened his life to an unseen observer. His work was indeed being watched, and it wasn't a client. This story was posted by a user named throwaway_cam01 on Reddit. They claimed it happened just last year. I moved into my apartment in late October. Nothing fancy. Just a small one-bedroom on the 3rd floor. Cheap rent, quiet neighborhood. Honestly, it felt like I got lucky. The landlord mentioned the previous tenant had left in a hurry, but didn't go into detail. I didn't think much of it. People move out all the time. The first few nights were normal, until I noticed the camera. It was small, almost invisible, tucked into the corner where the wall met the ceiling, facing directly toward my bed. At first, I thought it was a smoke detector, or maybe part of an old security system. But when I stood on a chair and looked closer, it wasn't wired to anything. No blinking light, no brand, just a tiny black lens, pointed right at where I slept. I felt watched, but I told myself I was overreacting. Still, I covered it with tape that night. The next morning, the tape was gone. Not fallen, not loose, gone. That's when I checked the rest of the apartment. Bathroom, kitchen, hallway, nothing. Just that one camera. And somehow, it was clean. Too clean, like someone had recently wiped it. I unplugged my Wi-Fi and sat in silence. That's when I heard it. A soft click behind me. I turned around. Nothing. But the camera was no longer covered. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I stayed awake watching it. At around 2:43 a.m. It moved. Not physically, but the angle, slightly. Just enough to follow me when I shifted in my chair. That's when I grabbed my phone and recorded it. I wanted proof, because at this point, I knew this wasn't normal. The next day, I went to the landlord. He looked confused, told me there were no cameras installed, said the previous tenant never reported anything like that. But when I showed him the video, he went quiet. Like, really quiet. Then he asked me something that still makes my stomach drop. Did you check inside the walls? That night, I didn't go back to the apartment alone. I brought a friend. We unscrewed the camera. Behind it wasn't wiring. It was a hole, a small, hollow space inside the wall. And from that hole, we heard breathing. Not loud, not aggressive, just there. Slow. Patient. Like someone had been waiting. We called the police. They broke open the wall. What they found, I still can't fully process. There was a narrow crawl space between the apartments. Barely enough for a person to move through, and inside it, Food wrappers, empty bottles, wires, and more cameras. Dozens of them, all pointing into different apartments. But the worst part, there was no one there, no way out, no hidden exit, nothing. Just the space. The police told me they might have been gone for hours, maybe minutes. They couldn't be sure. I moved out the next day, didn't take most of my stuff, didn't even go back for it. A week later, I got an email, no subject, no sender name, just a single video file. It was me, sleeping, from that same camera. But the angle was different, closer, much closer, and at the very end of the video, right before it cuts, you can hear it, a whisper, right next to my ear. "Don't worry, I'm still here.